This will definitely be an interesting match. Can go both ways. We've seen this from the release of Eternatus. A matchup very dependent on a few factors, which we'll get into. But before we do that, let's go ahead and jump down into the match. I think we're ready to go ahead and get things started here. So looks like Christian will go ahead and win the coin flip. Not very relevant in this matchup, though, as both players want to go in their respective turns. Eternatus wanting to go first, and Christian playing the Pikachu and Zekrom deck, wanting to go a second to utilize that turn one Boltund Electrify.
Yeah, definitely. Regardless of who wins the flip, we're going to see the same thing, right? And this matchup is definitely kind of a staple of the format. It feels like two of the very most popular decks. I've played a lot with both of these decks, and they're both very strong in their own rights. And Andres actually getting a pretty solid turn here thanks to all of those mulligans that Christian gave him. And now Andres will get an extra dark energy, is able to find the dark energy to throw down onto that Eternatus. Also building Spite on Spiritomb. Spiritomb actually can be a decent attacker in this matchup, potentially closing things out on a Dedenne in the late game.
Yeah, this deck is able to put on so much aggression here, Chip. Both of these decks want to have their game plan. What do you think the game plan for both of these decks is going to be able to take a win in this match?
Well, for Christian, he's going to need a lot of crushing hammers to go his way, to be honest. I've played this matchup out a lot on both sides, to be honest. And as we see, the first hammer, unfortunately, is Tails on Christian. The Eternatus player just it really does feel like such a solid matchup for Eternatus, right? You're able to one-hit KO these tag team Pokemons in order to take half of your prize cards throughout the game, right? So you really only need to attack 2, maybe 3 times in order to close out the game, whereas Pikachu and Zekrom has to work a little bit harder to get there. We're usually going to try to see Christian get a reset stamp to a low hand size and then get off a paralysis via Tandem Shock with the Raichu and Alolan Raichu, or the Mewtwo and Mew with the Raichu in the discard pile, in order to paralyze and leave your opponent with a very low hand size and just hope that that is enough for you to claw back into the game.
Yeah, and it looks like on Christian's side has that turn one Electrify already on board. Quick Ball here, gonna ditch a Lightning Energy. Obviously, great synergy with that Tapu Koko Prism Star. Dance the Ancients, able to accelerate energy out of this card pile and get these attackers powered up even quicker. Looks like Pikachu and Zekrom gonna be grabbed off the Quick Ball, is gonna get benched, and the Electrify here very likely is gonna go ahead and throw these Lightning Energy onto the Pikachu and Zekrom. You really wanna go ahead and swing with that first, and then the Mewtwo Mew just becomes a much more versatile attacker on the side of Christian.
We did see, unfortunately, a double hammer Tails on Christian's side. You're lucky enough to find 2 of your hammers, just not lucky enough on the coin flips, unfortunately. And Andres is going to just try to push the advantage here. We see that Eternatus VMAX coming into play, that Dread End attack, of course, doing 30 damage for each of your Darkness-type Pokemon in play. So we could definitely see a 2-prize KO on Andres' side, but this could play into a decent comeback game plan for Christian by taking a 2-prize knockout on Boltund V and then a 3-prize knockout on either Pikachu, Zekrom, or Mewtwo. You open yourself up to potentially being reset stamped down to just 1 card and then paralyzed by a Tandem Shock.
Yeah, so a few interesting things at the end of the turn there. Crobat only going to draw 2 extra cards with Dark Asset, but does find one of those Crushing Hammers 2 for 2 this turn, so pretty much opposite from Christian's luck. 0 for 2 and 2 for 2. However, as action is back on Christian, this Eternatus 10 damage short of taking the knockout on Boltund, but that might be what Andres wants in this situation, to be able to take that knockout later on with something like a Zigzagoon, which can deal 10 damage anywhere on the board. Would be perfect math to take a knockout on this Boltund. Christian's got to put something together. We'll be able to either use Electrify or Bolt Storm this turn, so it's not all bad that this Boltund is staying alive in this case. Well, it does have a few options to make. Could utilize that Tapu Koko. We know at least 2 energy on the discard pile, 3 to be exact. As Quick Ball gets played, we'll grab Crobat. So a bunch of Crobats getting played down on both players' sides. As Christian will be able to draw a bunch of cards and get that hand size filled up to 6. We'll see if he wants to choose to play any other cards, thin any other cards out so he can maximize the total amount of cards drawn off of Dark Asset.
As Christian here, I actually do really feel like taking the attack with Bolton here is really strong, and that's exactly what we'll see Christian do. You can hit for a solid chunk of damage with the Tapu Koko's Dance of the Ancients, getting yourself a total of 5 energy in play, doing 160 damage, so that means you can pick up a KO with a Tag Bolt on Eternatus VMAX, and then if at the same time you're able to find one of those last 2 Crushing Hammers and get rid of the energy that's potentially prepped on the bench by Andres, you could get yourself multiple turns of attacking when your opponent doesn't have any energies in play.
So we do see the Tapu Koko Prism Star will get popped, accelerating 2 energy out of the discard pile, and Bolt will go for a Bolt Storm, and that is another Crushing Hammer heads. Gonna remove an energy off of that Pikachu and Zekrom. We'll also get another attachment down to the board. Spiritomb will build Spite again. Gonna put more damage counters on itself. That Anguish Cry dealing more damage for each damage counter on it. So happy to take some time and slowly build that up to possibly be an attacker to take a knockout later on in the game. And it does find the Zigzagoon, so we'll take 2 prizes onto that active Bolt Hunt. And now it kind of is a tough decision for Christian. Do you promote one of these 3 prizers? There's a high chance with the big hand size that Andres has that there will just be another couple Pokemon in hand, and we'll actually promote the Crobat. So this means now Andres doesn't even need to knock out a tag team. There is another 2-prize Pokemon, being that Dedenne on the bench. So we could just see this Eternatus take a knockout and the game be over the following turn.
It's honestly kind of crazy that Andres has gotten this set up while only having to put 1 Crobat in play. Hasn't even had to draw that much with Dark Asset. But has plenty of options, is going to go ahead and leave the bench spot open, which I do like. You know, if you do get reset stamped down to 2 cards here, you want to have outs to find the Crobat so you can try to draw out of it. Now, on to Christian's side, you're really hurting here. This is not a good or ideal situation at all. You're just one attack away on your opponent's side from them just winning the game. Only 2 prize cards remaining. So, you're going to need some of these Crushing Hammers to come through. They haven't come through for you yet. We got to see if we can find them, and we got to see if we can flip some heads.
Yeah, as the board stands right now for Christian, it's going to go ahead and play research. But Andres just has too much threats in this case. And the problem is, usually you want to just kind of take knockouts with Tandem Shock, slowly paralyzing turn after turn. But Hammer does hit heads. So this is very important for Christian to try to slow this down. So something like a Tandem Shock play, in combination with the reset stamp, as we see that get played down, seems like the best route. And this hand is not looking too good for Andres. Has no real way to draw cards, just a Spiritomb and an energy, and is actually just going to pass with the Dedenne in the active. So this Eternatus will be able to utilize Dread End, take the knockout onto the Dedenne, and we'll see Andres take game 1 in a pretty dominating fashion.
Yeah, Christian had a small opportunity there on that last turn if he hadn't been able to find the tag switch, been able to find the Crushing Hammer and flip heads. What you could have done is hit the energy off the benched Eternatus, go for the reset stamp, and then use Tag Bolt to pick up the KO on the Eternatus VMAX. But that's a lot to ask for. When you still have almost 30 cards in your deck, I think, starting the turn, definitely was a small chance it could have happened. Didn't quite work out for Christian in this one, and we see Andres taking down game 1 in extremely convincing fashion.
Yeah, very convincing indeed, Chip. As we move into game 2, what does Christian really need to do to take the tide in this game and really turn things around and possibly force a game 3?
I think he needs for Andres to draw a little bit slower, or in order to come back into the game. You're almost always, as the Pikachu Zekrom player, going to be playing this matchup from behind, it feels like. So you need to be able to set up those turns where you can get the reset stamp to low in combination with the paralysis, and also flip a few more heads maybe on your Crushing Hammers. That never hurt anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Crushing Hammer being such a powerful card in both of these decks. And we'll see who can maybe flip a little bit better on these coin flips, that being a big part of the format right now. And we're ready to go ahead and get into the second game of this series. So let's go ahead and throw it down to the players here. Andres is going to have the option to choose whether or not he will go first or second. We already explained this before. Both of these decks want to go their own way when it comes to turns. So Andres is going to go ahead and go first here. And now is really the question of what can Christian do, really. Needs to obviously find that turn 1 Electrify, but from there, it really just also comes down to how Andres sets his board up.
And we do see, oh, the energy draw here was huge. That was the one thing Andres really needed on this turn. You've got a couple great balls, pretty good odds you'll find in Eternatus V, and drawing that energy, once again, thanks to the mulligans. We saw that in game one. Andres was missing the energy, was able to find it off the mulligans, and that exact same thing happened in this situation as well.
Yeah, and an interesting choice whether or not to grab this turn of this VMAX off the Great Ball. The thought process here is you would draw one less card with that Dark Asset ability on Crobat, but you would guarantee the VMAX for next turn. And we haven't really seen Andres take the route of Power Accelerator in this game, so I do like this decision to grab the VMAX. Has energy for next turn. Things are looking super solid here for Andres as action is back on Christian. Needs to find that turn one Electrify. Didn't start one of his worst starters, but Crushing Hammer here, a big card. We'll see if this one goes ahead and flips heads. No, still tails. You hate to see this here if you're Christian. You need to hit those hammer heads to slow this deck down so they cannot apply pressure as quickly as they can in this matchup.
Yeah, it might be time to put that coin down and pull something else out of the bag here because that one is not doing you any favors, it seems. We'll see if Christian can find another hammer. On Andres' side, I really love to see you try to get down to Eternatus V. Didn't look like Andres really had the option to. But what can happen here is if Christian does find a heads, you want to be able to VMAX plus utilize Power Accelerator, which can be tough to do unless you get to Eternatus V down. And oh, Christian does not even find the Bolton, does not even find the energy to electrify. Is just going to have to be an energy attachment for turn onto the Mewtwo and a pass.
Yeah, an interesting choice here for Andres is going to actually decline to use the Dark Asset on the first Crobat to draw an extra card with the second one, as he will most likely be playing this research, or just taking a knock on the Dene, as there are a few key pieces, that being the energy cards mainly in Andres' hand. Needs those obviously to attack later on, but nothing else really to attach to. So I wouldn't hate necessarily going for some different line of play, but we actually will see the boss. This is a great way to bring this Mewtwo Mew up, apply pressure to the only thing with energy on the board, and really put yourself in a dominating position.
Absolutely. I mean, the only way Christian can really do much next turn is via Tapu Koko's Dance of the Ancients, getting an extra energy plus attaching there, being able to utilize something like Full Blitz or Tandem Shock. Now with this Mewtwo being brought active, it forces Christian to find more pieces. You have to find the switch and then also find the Tapu Koko, the energy, and the tag team to put in the discard pile.
Yeah, it just seems like even more to ask for Christian, especially after that poor start on the first turn of the game. Not able to get the Electrify, forced to just settle with attaching the Mewtwo Mew. And I wonder here with how long Christian is taking, what outs he even has. We do see the electromagnetic radar, so assuming that other Dedenne is in play, we'll be able to grab that. Can also grab out those key attackers like the Pikachu and Zekrom, like that Raichu and Raichu. I think just deciding what cards to discard, as has to get rid of a Yell Grunt and a Speed Lightning energy here. That Yell Grunt being a card you really don't want to have to discard unless you really need to.
Yeah, it can definitely be a very crucial card for the matchup. You, of course, can get access to it once again with the Eldegoss V, potentially, but you really want to utilize your Eldegoss to find something like a Boss's Orders, I feel like, a lot of the time.
Yeah, looks like gonna get 6 fresh new cards off that Dede change. The Dede obviously being a staple card in this Pikachu and Zekrom deck, and many decks in the standard format. Just such aggressive card draw from a basic Pokemon that can be searched out in so many ways. Here's another Crushing Hammer from Christian. Does finally hit his first of the set, and that will set Andres back a turn from attachments. But with this hand, I really think you're not too upset if a Crushing Hammer has to hit sometime during this game. Now could just honestly be the best time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not getting attacked and Crushing Hammered at the same time, it's really almost inconsequential, it feels like.
Yeah, exactly at this point. Looks like action back on Christian. Still has the ability to Quick Ball and find yet another basic Pokemon out of the deck. Looks like eyeing up the potential options here. Could find something like the Raichu, even a Bolton, which we have not seen come into play yet. Could get grabbed off of this Quick Ball. Just has a lot of options out of the deck, and that's what Quick Ball really provides, a lot of versatility for these. And even the Tapu Koko Prism Star can get grabbed and accelerate some energy onto the board for Christian here. And we will see that hit the play at the bench. So would not be surprised if we see something like a switch. Hopefully this turn, I think, is really what Christian is looking for. In combination with that, Tapu Koko Prism Star will allow this Mewtwo to get an attack off and apply some pressure onto this Eternatus.
Yeah, just a switch would be the best card to find here for Christian. Is able to find it perfect. And another Crushing Hammer does not go their way once again. And we see another one.
Oh, no!
It's one out of all of the Crushing Hammers flipped so far in the series.
And that's all of them for Christian.
Yeah,
He is out of Crushing Hammer. No way to disrupt the energies. And he's down both Team Yell Grunt and the Eldegoss V, so he has no way to disrupt energy here. This is it's looking like a perfect game for Andres to really just run away with things. The Eternatus can just slowly build up and just take these one-shots and will win the prize trade. Well, when you're one-shotting to getting two-shotted, both of these being 3-prize Pokemon, it's just looking so good right now for Andres.
Definitely ideal, but that at least the one Crushing Hammer does buy you an opportunity here where Andres is going to be not going to be able to attach to an Eternatus V on the bench this turn. Has to attach to the active, and then you're still kind of behind a turn of attachments, right?
Yeah, we're seeing two different sides of the coin here, literally onto these Crushing Hammer cards. Andres has been flipping excellent this entire game, getting heads, being able to remove these energies. Obviously, a little bit more important in Christian's side to hit these energy acceleration or energy disruption cards. But in this case here, Andres able to disrupt some energy. Still feels good when you get to take an energy off your opponent's board. I think just deciding what to get rid of with Quick Ball is going to actually opt to get rid of the Boss's Orders. An interesting discard. I guess assuming there's probably a possibility that my Eternatus VMAX can go down next turn. I'll probably want to prioritize a card draw supporter here. Or maybe just thinning his hand down to 0, which it looks like we might see, except the energy attachment, so my mistake there. We'll be able to thin this hand down to 5, but that will also be all 4 Crobats gone, so we'll have just even less options off of a potential reset stamp later on in this game.
I mean, you're going to, as Andres, have all of your energies probably cleared out of play here. I think really the only play for Christian is to go for the Tag Bolt, right? Take the knockout on Eternatus VMAX and then just try to maneuver the game from there. And also, as Andres, you will have to discard multiple Pokemon here because the Eternatus VMAX is being knocked out, meaning that Eternal Zone ability no longer active. Some of those Pokemon will have to go to the discard pile.
Yeah, so smartly bringing up the Dene with a Lightning Energy, this opens up a lot of plays just in case Christian wants to go for a Tandem Shock. That the Dene is never really attacking, so we will just actually see the switch get played before the research is actually going to discard 3 Boltund off of that, so not looking like Boltund will be the strategy here for Christian. Is going to go in with this solo Mewtwo Mew in combination with a reset stamp to put Andres' hand down to 3, and those are not 3 very good cards off of that reset stamp. It does find the energy, which is important, and we will see Christian take that line of play like you explained before. Tag Bolt will knock out that Eternatus VMAX. Christian will have to, Christian will get 3 prize cards here, and as you said, Andres is going to discard his bench down. We'll need to find even more Pokemon in combination with setting up another VMAX again to really get going and build up the bench to hit for the damage that he needs to hit for.
Yeah, you find the VMAX here, which isn't too bad. I mean, as Andres, all your Crobats are gone. Your real only draw outs here are going to be top decking something like a Research or a Marnie. That's it. No Quick Ball outs, no Communication outs, no Great Ball outs even. And gonna go ahead and choose to leave the Yveltal active. I wouldn't have hated seeing just a retreat to the Zigzagoon here. Your opponent is gonna take a prize, right? It's not like they're just gonna pass with your Zigzagoon active, force you to find more. No, they've got to take knockouts, right? So now you lose this pivot, and what do you send up here? Eternatus, and hope that you draw energy or a Research. And it looks like that is the strat for Andres. Let's see what the top deck is. It is a quick ball,
but there's no more Crobat left. Yeah, no Crobat left. Had to expand all 4 of those. This is where being a little bit more conservative this matchup, like you said, taking it slow is so important because just like that, it means you can draw 6 more cards and possibly could have found all the cards you need for this game, as this switch in combination with the Air Balloon on the Eldegoss is going to allow Mewtwo Mew to Tandem Shock, and this will be one more piece Andres needs to find in order to get out of this situation, so to say, that he's been put in.
Even just the one single Crushing Hammer heads was all Christian needed to try to claw back into this one, and I mean, you're not going to be able to take a knockout next turn, but if you can find the switch card, you can just get the paralysis off again, and you force your opponent to find even more, needing the switch and needing multiple Pokemon.
Yeah, there's two sides to what you could do. You could quick ball away the turn of this, but we know Andres is down a fair amount of bench Pokemon, and there is the switch from Christian. So we'll again reset the Tandem Shock. So this is pretty much do or die here for Andres. Has got to find something to put together in order to take this game and advance to 2-0 in the set. What is he top deck? It's a research.
Oh!
That is a huge time top deck here for Andres. 7 cards. Does he find the switch and the energy? He does, as well as, I believe that will be perfect if he has the last Zigzagoon in deck. I believe that will be exactly math. So he will have Pokemon Communication. So if that last Zigzagoon has not been discarded yet and is still in the deck, there will be perfect math here. The 10 from the Zigzagoon will put that Mewtwo and Mew to 240 HP remaining. And this Dread End is doing exactly that. 240 damage with 6 bench Pokemon left. Or actually, 210 damage, so it's not quite a knockout here. My mistake on that. So does not have the ability to take the game.
It's there, that's game.
Oh, that's game. Yeah, Zigzagoon will actually do it.
That'll
yeah, that extra bench spot.
You'll be doing 240 damage, 270 total HP there on the Mewtwo and Mew. And Andres, from a seemingly unwinnable situation, finds the exact top deck needed in order to pick up this final KO, finds the exact cards off the Professor's research, and 240 damage coming down to that Mewtwo that already had 30 on it. That will award Andres the victory, and we'll be moving on to the next round of the winner's brackets.
Yeah, just like when it seemed Christian was one turn away from forcing a game 3. An incredible top deck there, Professor Research being so strong at drawing through your deck, finding those pieces, and Andres drew perfectly off of that research. Finding the switch, the Pokemon, the last Zigzagoon in deck, just shows us how this turn of this deck can pull victories from seemingly out of nowhere.
Absolutely. Things set up perfectly there in the end game for Andres as Christian. I mean, you hate to see it. All those Crushing Hammer tails throughout the whole